Dear ladies and gentlemen, it's been a sad day. I've been visiting a local county, and I'm here to be able to say how discouraged I am that the Republican Central Committees are just as bad in this county as they are in my own, and consistent with what other people have stated about their Republican Central Committees as well. They all begin with praying to God and thanking God for our great country while pledging allegiance to a gold-fringed flag, talking about our great country and how God should bless thee. And then the rest of the meeting is spent as devious factions, one trying to rule over the other with no basic standard. I was up to my old tricks, but I didn't intend on having it turn out the way that it did. My intention was to go to the Central Committee, because I was invited, to a legislative forum to hear the candidates speak for commissioner, legislature, sheriff, and so on. I had no intention on speaking, but because I felt like it was a bit out of my jurisdiction. I'm from Caldwell. I'm not from this particular county. And I had one of the guys ask me if I intended on speaking, and I said, no, I'm just here as an innocent bystander just to listen. Well, I guess you could say I lied, which I guess I'm committing to. But I didn't lie in the fact that I had intended on speaking, had somebody not verbally attacked somebody else and begin to assault groups like the Idaho Freedom Foundation and particular people that I've known for years that have stood consistently for liberty, as passionate and as extreme as they're considered. So, after the devious, vicious, libelous attacks against groups like my friend Wayne Hoffman in the Idaho Freedom Foundation, and my friend that I should remain, so I probably should withhold just for the moment, is not very well liked here, I guess, at least in that establishment crowd. People will know who that is. He basically accused the Idaho Freedom Foundation of being charged with criminal acts and currently under investigation for such fraudulent activity. And I found this quite strange for a man that only had 3 minutes. He's been an incumbent for Legislative District 24 Seat B. I'll let you figure that one out. And he sat there and asked people for his vote while he said that the Idaho Freedom Foundation was practically guilty and under investigation for criminal activity. And then he demeans known people in the liberty movement and demeans the Tea Party. All in 3 minutes on asking people to vote for him. He's the only one that went negative in the campaign. Other than that, I was going to say this Central Committee actually did a pretty good job. And then I was asked to, I called them out. Representative Hartgen decided that he was going to go negative and go after my friends and go after a nice little lady that's passionate and running for her first time, and he verbally attacked her about something she posted on Facebook. All in his 3 minutes about asking people to vote, right? So I asked him, when he went after that, I said, as a guest, I'm really discouraged to hear what I've heard tonight. Do you feel that any person or organization that holds government accountable is guilty of terrorist activity and subject to criminal charges? And if so, why should people vote for you as you lambast those that speak and act on the principles of liberty? Almost as if constitutionalists are the enemy. And then he went on this diatribe about the Constitution and all of this stuff, which he obviously doesn't know anything about, because if you look at him on the Idaho Freedom Index, he's suffering from an F-, which is probably some indication why he's upset. And the other part of him being upset, when I actually asked him the question and called him a liar in a public forum for saying that the Idaho Freedom Foundation was guilty of a criminal investigation, he didn't so much like me either. Now, did I intend to disrupt the apple cart there in Twin Falls? Absolutely not. Did I intend to be able to use any position that I have to be able to sway people in a particular direction? Absolutely not. But was I going to call out a legislator that was asking for 3 minutes to be able to get voted in again, not only launching a negative campaign, but a negative campaign against a woman that was defenseless there on her own, while lying about the Idaho Freedom Foundation that everybody knows calls a spade a spade? Representative Hartgen, if you got a problem with the way that the record is against you, don't get mad at the people that expose it. Why don't you start looking into your own worldview and start changing and start learning about the Constitution? And as far as the rest of you that would allow that to happen and allow me to be the only person that stood up and defended that woman and defended the liberty organizations about this free country and this God that you allegedly support, you guys sat there like spineless people that would be just fitting in the legislature, just allowing the federal government to tramp all over you. Which none of you, I don't imagine, would be quite fitting. And I have basic respect for the local prosecutor there. And I shook his hand and I said, look, I didn't mean to disrupt that. And then he says, you came here and intended to do that, didn't you? And I thought, who do these people think we are? We're freedom fighters. We fight for freedom. We expose the BS. We expose the lies. And if you don't like it, you call us terrorists? And you call us, you say that we're guilty of criminal actions? You're the one that took the oath to public trust. You're the one that took the oath to defend and uphold the Constitution. And you're the one that doesn't know the very oath and the context of the document that which you swore that oath to. So the problem, people, isn't with us. The problem is with you. We've done our homework. We can defend ourselves. We can show you documentation to prove that this country's in way more trouble than just voting and keeping Idaho Republican. Not one time, not one candidate tonight said anything about the Constitution. Not one. But yet they pray to God and they pray to our flag and they ask for the blessings of liberty. Everyone in there is probably a neocon. And nobody would even defend a newcomer. A lady that talked about her family with all the love she had in her heart. And a guy like that as an incumbent in 3 minutes, rather than talking about the things that he's done, would rather rip somebody a new one. A defenseless woman. And if this man gets in office, is that the kind of man you want in the legislature? Representative Hartgen, I have no problem in saying you should be ashamed of yourself, man. I'm not ashamed for speaking out and calling you a liar in a public forum, and I'd do it again. And I would do it to anybody else that did the same thing. If you're truly afraid of losing your position, then you probably should have focused on your successes and not try to bring somebody else down. Or is that just the establishment way as you demonize the liberty lovers while calling yourself one when you're nothing more than a neocon Trotskyite-style Marxist? You guys are in as much trouble as we are in our county. And I fear the rest of the state is the same way. We better start figuring it out, folks. We've got to determine the standard. What is the standard in the party? What's the standard in the state? What's the standard in our nation? Anyway, it's late. This is Tom Muntz, signing out.